Hello, my name is Blossoms and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. And today we're doing the Noelle build, the absolute heal wheel. I really like Noelle. I love the way she operates in the game, you know, being basically the only current tank. We're getting a few in 1.1, but currently she's basically the only tank, and she also heals and she can put out some really strong damage. I have absolutely loved Noelle the whole way through, and I've been leveling her up and I've been enjoying her. She's a part of my team more often than not, and I can't wait to show off my build to you guys. Starting off, we're going to go into the talents, as I haven't done a showcase on her or anything, and I think it's important to go over the talents and just kind of how they function and, you know, the kind of the value that I think they have. And the first one up is Breastplate here. She summons Protective Stone Armor, dealing geo damage to surrounding enemies and creating a shield. The shield's damage absorption scales based on Noelle's defense. The shield has the following properties. When Noelle's normal and charge attacks hit a target, they have a certain chance to regenerate HP for all characters. And then it possesses 250% absorption efficiency against geo damage. And then the amount of HP healed when regeneration is triggered is based off Noelle's defense. And here are the stats, you know, kind of pertaining to that. You will notice it has a very long cooldown, but that's kind of fixed up with one of her later talents here. And then the healing is scaled off of her defense, and the damage is even scaled off of her defense. So you're definitely getting rewarded by just literally, you know, building around defense. And then her elemental burst here is Sweeping Time. Gathering the strength of stone around her weapon, Noelle strikes the enemies surrounding her with a large AoE, dealing geo damage. Geo damage is important to note there, we'll get into that later. And the AoE is huge, it's like 15 meters. Like, she can basically hit the whole room with this, and it's pretty fun. And it's a larger attack AoE. It converts attack damage to geo damage, we mentioned that, and increases the attack that scales based on her defense. So you get, currently I have at level 6, you get 56% of your current defense just added onto your attack, which absolutely gets insane. It does have burst and skill damage here. I believe that's in the starting animation, as she does some swings in the starting animation. However, you will notice the duration is only 15 seconds and the cooldown is only 15 seconds, and the energy cost is 60, which I would say is bonkers, except Noelle has the downside of her first ability having 1, a long cooldown, and 2, the fact that her first ability doesn't really seem to generate energy particles. So when you have Noelle on your team, you're going to be mostly relying on your teammates generating energy particles for Noelle to get her elemental burst, and that's kind of one of the major downsides of Noelle, and something very important to keep in mind when you are having Noelle as like a main portion of your team. For her next element, we have Devotion. When Noelle is in the party but not on the field, this ability triggers automatically when the active character's HP falls below 30%. It creates a shield that lasts for 20 seconds and absorbs damage equal to 400% of Noelle's defense. This can only happen every 60 seconds. This is actually such a nice passive to have, making Noelle like top tier support in my opinion. Like, the breastplate already is fantastic, but having this just when, you know, you mess up and you go below 30% HP, having that huge shield is really important. One of my favorite things about Noelle is the shield aspect to her, since you can basically Oonga Boonga your way through opponents left and right and just ignore what they're doing because you have shield and you don't need to worry about dodging anymore. Definitely helps out in the fight a lot. But moving on to our last talent here that we really care about is every 4 normal or charge attacks hits will decrease the cooldown of Breastplate by 1 second. Hitting multiple enemies with a single attack is only counted as 1 hit. This is a fantastic talent, really helps with that cooldown of the first ability, as I said, very long at 24 seconds. And the nice and clean here really helps mitigate your downtime on that ability. As for the constellations that I have for Noelle, I only have 3 constellations here. I think 6 constellations is really where you want Noelle. That's where she gets absolutely insane. But even having these 3 is fantastic. And I'd say the one that you really kind of need if you want Noelle to be your main healer is this first one here, where while you have Sweeping Time and Breastplate up, your healing effects, the chance for them happening is 100%, and she heals huge. So just having that for every swing while having those both up, you're gonna heal your team to full, no doubt. And then Combat Made here is pretty cool. It decreases the stamina consumption in Noelle's charge attacks by 20% and increases her charge attack damage by 15%. This is why I call her the heal wheel, because you activate both of the abilities and then you just spin to win and you heal your whole team doing really good damage at the same time. It's really fun. I'll definitely have to show it off. But then also got the third one here, just levels up my breastplate. And then the fourth one here is pretty nice. It's when breastplate's duration expires or it is destroyed by damage, it will deal 400% attack of geo damage to surrounding enemies. Now I do believe this scales off of the elemental bursts attack that it adds to you. So if you have your elemental burst up and your shield breaks, it'll probably do 400% attack of your current attack while the elemental burst is up, which is absolutely huge. It's a ludicrous amount of damage. So I could definitely see this being really good, and I definitely want it. However, the best constellation here is the Must Be Spotless. The sweeping time increases Noelle's attack by an additional 50% of her defense. And then additionally, every enemy defeated during this skill's duration adds 1 second to the duration up to 10 seconds. An additional 50% is insane, and I'm going to show you why right now. So you'll see we have Noelle's Elemental Burst up, and bam. So that's up, and my attack is now 2,000. It was previously 1,000, and that's only at having my talent at level 6 here, and that giving me 56% defense. 56% of my defense is going onto my attack, so you can imagine having an additional 50% is going to be jumping me up towards like 3,000 plus. And the more you scale her defense, the higher her attack's going to get with that. So you can imagine why that last constellation is absolutely insane. Moving forward to the artifact portion, you will know all my artifacts here are 4-star, and I'm still having a blast with Noelle. Obviously, I want to upgrade these to 5-star, and that'll actually scale her, you know, up to the content that I really need her in the late game here. However, she's doing more than fine in the current content with just upgraded 4-stars. And the set that you're really going to want to strive for, Noelle, here is definitely the Retracing Bolide set. I think this is definitely the best in slot set for Noelle, as it increases your shield strength by 35%, which may not sound that crazy, but just being able to Oonga Boonga your way through things is totally broken in my opinion. Definitely is like a kind of inadvertent way to increase your DPS, as you don't have to dodge something, you can just tank it with the shield. And I think that's something a lot of people undervalue, and having that extra shield strength is going to be incredible. However, the real bonus here is the 4-piece, where while protected by a shield, you gain an additional 40% normal and charged attack damage, which that's all Noelle's doing, because, you know, her first ability and her elemental burst, she's still going to be normal attacking the whole time or charged attacking the whole time, and you're just getting additional 40% damage there, which is totally worth it. Now as for the stats that I have on my Retracing Bolide set, I have some okay substats, nothing too crazy. I have defense, which is actually unoptimal. You definitely want 2 defense here. However, on the cup, I'd say you 110% want geo bonus damage. I just haven't been lucky enough to get a headpiece with defense percent or a geo bonus damage, you know, balloon here. But you definitely want to have 2 of these be defense, and then just have this be geo bonus damage. That's going to make your elemental burst damage go through the roof. She's going to be absolutely clearing the room, and it really you know, is what separates her from your kind of like normal Noelle. Now if you're asking where do I get that set, you just come on down to the bottom right corner of the map here in the Gyun Stone Forest, and you can find the Retracing Bolide set as well as the Archaic Petra set, and you can farm that out to your heart's content. This is a very good domain. The Archaic Petra is a really strong set. This is a mistranslation that actually is supposed to say 35% attack, which is important to note. But the Retracing Bolide set here is something that I think you should be farming out, even if you're not building out Noelle, but you want to build out, I don't know, 3 out of the 4 characters in the 1.1 patch. They all work with shields, so I imagine this is going to be a really sought-after set once 1.1 comes out. And if you're interested in Zhongli, Jianyan, or Diona, then I think the retracing bullet set is definitely something you want to be looking out for. Not to mention you also get little pieces of the brave set here, which is just like a nice little general thing to have, so for, you know, maybe your team 2 or anything, for that extra attack percent increase. But what if you don't want to use the retracing bullet set? Don't worry, I got you. Don't worry about it. If you are an unlucky soul and all of your gladiator pieces have defense percent, just use the gladiator set. It's going to be buffing up your attack just a little bit more, which is going to help out. Obviously, you don't really care about attack that much on Noelle. However, you're still getting that 35% extra normal attack damage. But one thing to note here is that it doesn't increase your charged attack damage, which is kind of important on Noelle, especially if you have that Constellation 2. But, you know, you could easily get away with a defense percent gladiator set and maybe like a geo bonus damage cup or something. And that's still going to make your Noelle tanky and be able to deal with everything. However, your shield's going to be weaker and you are going to be doing less normal and charge attack damage. So overall, I think the retracing bullet is definitely better. But, you know, maybe you're super budget. You can't get either of these sets to get any of the rolls you want. And, you know, you're looking for just like a cheap alternative to have a half decent Noelle. Then I'd highly recommend having a 2-piece of the Defender's Will set here, where you get that base defense increase of 30%. And then, you know, screw the 4-piece, that's not important. You get that base defense increase of 30%. And then you could also do something like the Maiden's Beloved set 2-piece, the character healing effectiveness, up by 15%. That's just going to make it to where, you know, your base defense is getting scaled up by 30%. And then you're also just doing that much more healing. That's going to allow your Noelle to at least keep your team alive and, you know, still have some pretty solid defense. And one thing to mention here is that this says base defense plus 30%. So I wonder if the defense percent actually scales on top of this instead of just adding to the percentage. So if your base defense is increased by 30% and then your defense percent gear will actually add on top of that new value is the real question here. And I think definitely something to consider when building Noelle. I just don't exactly know what you would do for another 2-piece set to make her, you know, as strong as she would be with a retracing bullet set. But in the future, as more sets come out, I would definitely be looking at this 2-piece set bonus right here for a future Noelle build. In terms of substats for Noelle, you're definitely going to want to be looking for things like crit rate, crit damage, obviously, and elemental mastery is actually something that's kind of nice on Noelle, and I'll go over why in just a second. But you're also going to be wanting to look for, you know, defense percentage, obviously, that's going to help out. And, you know, things like energy recharge are also going to go a long way, just because of the fact that, you know, she needs as much energy recharge as she can get, since she's not generating her own energy for her elemental burst. You're going to be, you know, taking your teammates' orbs to really fund that. So having that little bit of energy recharge is going to go a long way on Noelle. And touching back on why elemental mastery might be so important on your, you know, Geo character Noelle here, is actually that elemental mastery on a Geo character allows your shields to be stronger. And I only have a little bit of elemental mastery right now, like 84, just like some random stats that I've been getting from my gear, and my shields are 25% stronger, which is definitely, you know, helping me out in the tanking department. When you have your Noelle actually built, you're basically going to be able to tank through anything. There's people who have built out their Noelles more than me. They have like 5-star artifacts, and, you know, they got it fully maxed out, leveled up, etc. And I've seen them, you know, be able to just clear floors of Spiral of the Abyss. There was some guy who cleared floor 11 of the Spiral Abyss with Noelle only. So I guess that kind of, you know, vouches for how much of a tank, heal, and damage she can do at the same time. As for the weapon of Noelle, you're definitely going to want White Blind. Hands down, White Blind, White Blind, White Blind. It's got defense percent, and it increases on her normal or charge attack. It increases her attack and defense. And I have mine at Refinement Rank 2 by 7.5% for 6 seconds, max 4 stacks. And this is basically just a sword that's made for Noelle. I really don't know how else to put it. If you have a 5-star that's absolutely insane, then maybe you can pop that on Noelle. But honestly, I might even still use White Blind on, you know, instead of that at this point. However, I don't have any 5-star claymores to really test that out, but I mean, Wipe Line just speaks to me as being Noelle's weapon. So I 100% think this is the weapon you want to do. It's one of the craftable 4-star claymores. So if you get the claymore recipe from your weekly bosses, then maybe you want to put it into a white blind if you're planning on building Noelle. But before we actually show her off in something like Spiral Abyss or, you know, just fighting general ads, here are her general stats as to what I have her right now if you guys want to get a look at how she feels. You know, I do only have her at level 70. I plan to obviously update all of my builds once I have them like perfect in my eyes. I think I'm going to be stopping at level 70, you know, currently, just because that's an easier level to achieve than 80. 80 takes a lot of resources. And so I think, you know, for right now, I'm probably going to be doing more builds along this kind of like general level rather than having them 80 like maxed out, like all the 5 stars like crazy. You know, I'm going to try and get as much 5 stars as I can. However, it's not exactly, you know, be all end all. But anyway, before we get in, here are the stats in case you want to replicate this build. Obviously, you would want more crit rate, crit damage. It's going to help you out a ton. And then on top of that, as I said, you're going to want a geo bonus damage. It's going to make your elemental burst do absolutely insane amounts of damage. And then you also want your energy recharge to be a little bit higher. All of this can be solved with basically the same set I have now with good substats. Alright, here we are. We're in front of the Spiral Abyss. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of shove Noelle into floor 9 here and just kind of show off, you know, her general potential. I will abandon that challenge. We'll go to floor 9 right here. And you see, I haven't even really attempted floor 9 at all. But we're just going to roll in here with Noelle. We'll go ahead and basically only use Noelle on this floor and just kind of see how she does. Alright, so this is floor 9 of Spiral Abyss. Level 72 stuff out here. And you see, I don't do like too crazy damage, about like 600-700 here. And then pop, we get that shield, we're doing 1,000, 1,500. You know, bigger numbers right there. And then we pop the elemental burst on top of that. Oh, and now we're doing like 2k a hit. About 2k, 1,900, we crit for about 3,000. And this is the, you know, not to mention that I literally have 4-star artifacts right now. So, you know, let me just spin to win here and deal damage to everything. And, yeah, we're basically killing everything here. Oh, did you see? I just popped my shield there to tank that because I didn't want to dodge. And that's kind of the huge benefit to Noelle, is you can literally just tank everything. You notice I'm just oonga boongaing right here. Oh no, she died. That's what happens when you talk shit. Alright, obviously I got a little too cocky here, but you know, I just kind of wanted to show off how strong Noelle is. But you can't forget that on a Spiral Abyss like this, they will mob you down real quick. But yeah, this is basically what you can expect out of Noelle: generating shields constantly, dealing damage to basically everything on the field, and you know, just being able to tank all the damage. It's really nice to have her on our team, and I love just swapping to her, casting her shield, and you know, making my entire team like basically immune to being knocked back or like immune to taking huge amounts of damage. And let's just pop Bennett build coming soon, by the way, if you didn't notice that little 10k we just did there to everybody. But working on the Bennett builds, so be ready for that one. And just kind of want to put in here for some supplemental healing. Oh, there we go. Let me just, you know, tank all of those, get some health back. And this is floor 9 of the Spiral Abyss, mind you, and my Noelle isn't even really like kitted out to deal with this much of high level content, but it's still sitting here, you know, taking them all on. And bam, have both going, and we'll just we'll spin to win a few people here, get rid of some of these slimes, doing that extra damage. You can see how she can really put out some good damage, and that is just kind of what I wanted to show you in the Spiral Abyss here. Now hopefully that kind of showed off to you the strengths of Noelle. Obviously she's not like a main DPS character. You're not going to be melting world bosses left and right with Noelle, but she is going to be able to oonga boonga tank through everything basically in the game. And once I get her built out with some 5-star artifacts, I can see her getting absolutely insane. You know, that defense percentage is going to go up, and I'm going to have like a geo bonus damage. you can really start to see where she is basically like the solo like character. Like if you want to solo something, I think Noelle's kind of gonna be your girl, as she's, you know, got so much self-sustain, so much protection, and she can deal pretty solid damage. Now, one major thing I wanted to mention about Noelle is that her damage does kind of cap out. I have seen people with some fully built Noelles with like 5-star artifacts and everything dealing massive damage. You know, we were doing like 2k hit with our elemental burst up and shield up, and they like had them all kitted out and they were doing like 5k per, which is insane, but you're really not going to get over that with Noelle. And that's because Noelle is a Geo character and she doesn't really combo with things, so she's not going to be getting those huge damage spikes from the multipliers of doing overload or anything like maybe my Bennett would be, or my Xingqiu would be getting from like a Vaporize comp. But she is still going to be doing pretty darn good damage, and she's going to be basically hitting everybody in the room with her elemental burst, which is like one of the most major things to know, is that maybe you're not doing 20k to, you know, one opponent, but you are doing 5k to like 4 opponents, which is pretty much the same thing, and something to keep in mind when building Noelle, or, you know, just using Noelle, and you might feel she's lackluster when she's actually not. Hopefully I didn't forget anything there. I think I included pretty much everything I wanted to talk about Noelle and how much I love her. I absolutely love her on my team. You know, she's more often on my team than not, as she's just such a great healer, such a great tank, such a great support for the team, and I highly recommend you build her because I know you have her. You summoned on that beginner banner. I know you did. And even if not, if you're summoning on the Klee banner and you're getting some Constellations, I highly recommend you go ahead and build her out when you have the resources available to you, as she's just going to help you Oonga Boonga tank through everything if, you know, you're bad at dodging or something like I am. But if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like below, comment for anything you might want to see in the future. Anything maybe that I didn't include in this video, I would also like to see in the comments of something maybe you would have preferred to see in the video, as I am always trying to improve these build suggestions or these like build videos. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. Hopefully you guys have a good route to build your Noelle now. I was able to tell you something maybe you didn't know. But anyway, my name is Blossoms, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.